Hi, good afternoon. This is Meredith Lego, and I am doing a series of videos on Ascension science. Some of the content that I teach is from an ascended master named Hilarion, who I've been able to connect with through quantum entanglement, and I'm able to telepathically download lessons based upon questions that I ask him either during or slightly after meditation. And this particular last set of videos have focused more on the concept of how it is that we start to set up our life plan as we're going into an incarnation. This is building upon a number of other topics or lessons that have gone into topics like the quantum field, how that works, how we manifest in the field, how our world, basically our external world, starts to mirror what we feel on the inside and what our intentions and what our emotions are creating on the inside, polarity. So if you are new to this channel and seeing this video for the first time, I highly recommend that you actually start at the beginning, because the way he taught me was starting to build a foundation of concept after concept and starting to build up. As a follow-up to the whole topic of how it is that we start to choose our life as we're planning for a future incarnation, I asked him the question, describe the spheres and how they interact with the rays. That's a pretty cryptic question unless you understand these concepts. So spheres I had heard about in passing is possibly being a place where we start to set up maybe the location where we start to take our incarnation into form. So it might be almost like an incubation area where we start to set up our life, but I wasn't sure. And the question also references the concept of the rays. So again, describe how the spheres, what they are, and how they interact with the rays. So to give you some background on rays really are very high energetic photons, if you will, or atomic nuclei that really move at the speed of light. So when you think about rays, think about like cosmic rays coming from the sun or any other sun, the central suns, which are usually the central core of a galaxy, as well as radiation, like gamma radiation or ultraviolet radiation. So those are rays, but they also have another meaning, which is not very understood yet by humanity, but is starting to slowly raise in consciousness of understanding. And basically our universe is composed of multiple energetic ray spectrums. So again, if you think about light and light frequencies, you've got many different spectrums of light that really vitalize and move our consciousness intelligence up slowly over time, because different energy, including light, carries different vibrational frequencies. And our consciousness intelligence is really moved up through our energetic chakra systems. So if you don't know about it, I encourage you to do your own research on chakras. But chakras are basically portals or openings that interface our bodies. And when I say bodies, I mean multiple bodies, and I'll explain that in a second. But it interfaces our bodies to the subtle energy quantum field that we exist or reside in, basically a wave of energy. And the bodies that these chakra points interface with is our physical, emotional, mental, and etheric body. So if you will, they're almost gateways or portals of being able to transfer energy in and out between the different body points. So going back to the concept of the rays, again, there are multiple energetic ray spectrums that move our conscious intelligence through the energetic chakra systems. Now, one of the things is that in most people, the chakra systems aren't necessarily opened or active until they start to become a little bit more spiritually aware, in the sense that they begin to realize and ask some of the bigger questions about who I am, what is my purpose in life, and that starts to actually activate more of the upper level chakras. Again, I encourage you to do your own research on that. Something else about the rays, however, and how they interface with you as a being is that depending upon the year that you're born, there are ray, or again, think about them as high photonic energy. There are ray configurations that basically influence your the energy spectrum that you will be taking on as a soul as you come into formation. And it'll influence the development of some aspects of your body as well as your personality. It can also start to influence some aspects of, let's say, some of the purpose that you're trying to accomplish in life. So different ray spectrums have different vibrational frequencies, and they also carry, because of that, different colors. And so you see this very much play out, let's say, in some of the items you might have learned in science about frequencies of light and the different frequencies that they hold and the different color spectrums that they hold. That's basically what this is, but they do actually have an influence on our development based upon the time of the year that we're born in terms of sort of the planetary configuration, with relative to, let's say, the sun, or relative to the actual center of the galaxy. Something else that is kind of unique in all this is that every about 26,000 years or so, our planet basically, or our placement in the Milky Way, or if you will, or if our galaxy sort of rotates around, and there are periods where that particular location, let's say, gets higher bands of photonic energy that come through, and we happen to be passing into a band of photonic energy that is just carrying a higher concentration of rays that are vibrating at a higher frequency. So it's more in line with what I believe is the gamma frequency. So it's not something that we're normally in. It usually lasts for a couple thousand years and then we move out. But we're sort of moving, like our placement in the solar system, or excuse me, in the Milky Way galaxy is moving into this, and has been for probably the last 40 years or so, 30, 40 years, but we're just, in the beginning of moving into this band of higher light. So that's basically the concept of rays and what they serve. So going back to the question that I asked is describe, again, the spheres and how they interact with the rays. The answer that Hilarion provided is the spheres are a learning playground or lab prior to the first embarkation to physical incarnation. They are spherical in shape in a massive stacked set around a universal cluster. The theme of each sphere focuses on a different aspect of learning or mastery. Their students do mini simulation labs. You are still in a lab now, but it is experienced in a shared collective. The Sphere Lab is an individual simulation. Once you are done with your level, you ascend to yet another school to teach other beings while they are in a class. The students move up to be a mentor, so to speak. Excuse me. So what it sounds like is that in this particular case, again, we talked about the concept, or he's talked about the concept that yes, we're in a quantum field, but it's designed in such a way, in a construct that allows us to essentially manifest our thoughts and our intentions and our emotions almost in a holographic situation. So anything that we're thinking is mirrored back to us, and we have the ability to sort of place ourselves in a number of different timelines, and based upon, again, our vibrational frequency, we're going to get off a certain sound vibration, and that essentially is going to dictate what particular timeline that we experience, and therefore what's reflected back to us. So while we're in like an environment that allows us to really explore and understand how we operate in a polarized set of different energies over time. It sounds like, you know, it's in a bit of a learning lab, and that there's other learning labs in which this happens as well at different dimensional locations where our higher self or our soul basically operates. He goes on to say that the spheres have different colors that emanate from their core. The light is generated from the sound frequency and help program the soul codes, or the blueprint codes, with basic learning and wisdom codes such as attraction to love, compassion, and truth. And I'm sure, he doesn't say it here, but I'm sure that there's other sort of learning codes that go on as well. As a student moves on in learning, they become more skilled in particular qualities and might carry that frequency within to a higher percentage of light. For example, a natural inclination for communication, empathy, will, or using the mind. So these are sort of broad competencies, if you will: communication, empathy, willpower, and then the higher usage, let's say, of the mind. That skill is passed on to the avatar for physical manifestation. And so that's really all he offered on this particular subject, and I didn't necessarily pursue it anymore because I was more interested in other aspects of some of the learning content that he wanted to provide. And really the whole point was to better understand the stages of ascension, which I'll be getting to very soon in future videos. But this was sort of a side question that I was just curious about. So it sounds like the idea of, let's say, photonic streams of energy that are coming from the sun or from other light sources in our solar system do have an impact on us. It sounds like there's also situations like these spheres he's describing that also do shape and form basically our development as a soul, maybe when we're beginning the whole process. As an aside, so I asked this question, I don't know, and quite a while ago, but I do recall that I asked it right before the movie Souls, I think it's called Souls, by Disney came out. And I was somewhat blown away by the fact that they are displaying that concept now in that cartoon form. So it just kind of goes to show you that there's certain pieces of information about, let's say, our placement in the bigger picture that's starting to come more into awareness of the collective consciousness. So that somewhat concludes some of the topics that I was going to cover on just sort of soul or soul development. He did provide some great examples of you know, how souls basically choose to go in and experience certain things, and then like how that might actually influence an experience that a soul wanted to have. They're actually pretty good examples, but I'm going to skip those, maybe come back to them in the future, in essence, to get on to some of the other interesting topics. So with that, have a great afternoon, and I will continue to bring forward more videos. If this content resonates with you, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and sign up for notifications. Thanks, bye.